Yeah, and if you can, Jasmine, can you acknowledge the Thai squad? They're kind of spoiled. If you could just shout them out, they
You
are,
acknowledge your people.
they're very deep. They're coming in deep tonight in 7, 8, 9 buses. So just acknowledge them, honey, so they won't feel a certain kind of way.
We happy we had the Thai squad with us, and Thais, you know that those are your people, so you also feel free to acknowledge your folks.
Okay, I
I'm
just
gonna,
don't want to, this ain't my platform. So I just want to,
no, I'm part of the Thai squad too. I know
yes,
how
you
we
are. Yes,
are.
you are.
Yes. um, hold on 1 second. All right.
Oh,
We're
the
live,
comments are
Jasmine.
going up.
Yeah, no, I know. I said
We're
that we
live.
were going to give folks a couple of minutes to get in, but I see folks are coming in. I see your Thai squad is here. We should not hold up the process because your people is ready to go, Thais.
Yes, they are.
Is this
I can't see anything but
right?
the panel.
You don't see the comments on the side of your screen.
Oh, so we press comments. Oh, okay. So Carly should click it from private chat to comments.
Click
And
the
if you have
what?
if you have a secondary device, you can just go right to the YouTube or the Facebook and watch from your secondary device, so you don't have to use the device you're on. It helps. Like if you're on your laptop, you can watch on your phone. If you're on your phone, you can watch from your laptop.
Right.
So how do I see it all on one device?
I'm not on my phone. I'm on my computer, and I can see the comments on the side. So if you're on a phone, I'm not sure because I know the screen is only so wide.
If you're on the phone, it's right there at the bottom, Carlisha. It says chat at the bottom. It says chat.
I know the screen is only so wide. If you're on the phone, it's right there at the bottom. That's so funny.
Okay.
All
Also,
right,
you got also if you can, you guys, if you're on a secondary device, be sure to mute it.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. I see, again, welcome, Thai Squad. We're going to shout y'all out first because we know you here. We see the green hearts. For those of you who do not know me and are on my page for the first time, I'm Jasmine Koenig. I'm a journalist, among other things, here in Los Angeles. And over the weekend, I was contacted by several people about an incident that had happened here in Los Angeles involving one of the members of our trans community. And it sort of kept continuing to escalate, and we thought it would be a great idea to sort of have a public discussion about it. Y'all can jump into the conversation as well in the comment section. Be respectful about it. If you're not respectful about it, I will respectfully kick your ass out of it. And I asked my good friend, Thais, if Thais would help me moderate this discussion, because I also know that this is an issue that's near and dear to Thais's heart as well. So, Thais.
Yes. Well, a lot of people say, well, why is he here? He's not trans. That has nothing to do with it. I am a trans advocate at heart. My followers and many people know my story. As a young teen, I was a sex worker in Hollywood, right? And I became, endeared to the trans community at that time, because at the situation is that my trans sisters, they didn't have the opportunity back in those days to take it off like we did. Like, a lot of us gay boys that were cross-dressing and we were,
right,
whatever you would call it, transvestites, we got to take it off, but they did not. And those stories and those relationships and bonds that I bonded with those women at that time lasted a long time to this day. So that's why I'm so passionate about my sisters. I will never forget those girls, those women, and their stories have impacted my life. They poured into me, I poured into them, and that's why I'm an ally, and that's why I show up and lend my voice and my platforms to this worthy conversation. That's why.
Right. And I will just say before we introduce our panel that I'm always honored when folks call on me in the community to have these types of discussions. I too am not trans, but I'm definitely an ally. And I think when you talk about protecting Black trans women, I don't think that that's a discussion that you have without the entire community, right? I mean, we all have to be a part of that discussion. And so I'm happy to represent as a Black woman, as a Black lesbian woman. I'm happy to be a part of this conversation. So I think we'll go ahead and get started and have our panel introduce themselves. I'm going to go in the order of the folks how I see you on my screen. So I'm going to start with we'll start with Carlisha. Go to, I don't want to mispronounce your name, Jayla, right?
It's Jayla.
Jayla, sorry, Jayla.
Sure,
and we'll go to Never Ending Nina. And then we'll let Tiana introduce herself last. Since Tiana is the reason that, we're all together today. Go ahead, Carlisha.
Hey family, my name is Carlisha Brown. As you guys know, I'm an ambassador of all things trans and Black. I'm a civil and human rights activist. I also was a brand ambassador for MAC Cosmetics, which gave me the opportunity to be their Pride ambassador, as well as one of their personalities for their More Than Tea documentary that was seen on Showtime. And I'm also currently now an OnlyFans content creator, and in that space, I advocate for sex positivity. So I'm happy to be here.
And I thank you, sister. I am Never Ending Nina, a community cultivator, singer-songwriter, artist. I am a advocate for equity and equality, especially centering Black trans women and empowerment and education. And so outside of that, well, with that, any space I go into, I also want to make sure that we are very astute on our mutually inclusive language, because we want to make sure that everyone is seen and heard in the spaces. So that's the gist of me.
Hey everyone, I am Jayla Sims, a singer-songwriter, actress, producer, comedian, host, etc. Black as fuck and trans as fuck. Walking in my truth daily and trying to inspire others to do the same, no matter the cost. I feel like living in your truth is the only fulfilled life. Anything less than that just isn't sufficient.
All right, Miss Tiana.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tiana Trends, pronoun she, her, ma'am. I am a singer-songwriter, television personality, community advocate, and I'm a leader in the House of Law community. And thank y'all for being a part of this, and thank you for having me on your platform, Jasmine.
No problem. Now, I noticed, was it just me, but I could hear like a little static and feedback when Tiana was speaking. So I don't know if you have
I have
AirPods.
I do. Is it conflicting, or do I need to speak up, or?
No, I think it's conflicting. It's very staticky.
So
like every time you speak.
is your phone sitting on something? Is your speaker pressed against something?
Okay.
Lift your phone up and speak.
I just disconnected from my AirPods. Is that better?
Yes, it
am
is.
I here? Am I here?
You
That's
are. I still.
You are on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You are.
It's better.
Does the mother need to reintroduce herself or no? Did y'all hear me, or you want me to redo, or what's the tea?
No, we heard you. But okay. I want people to definitely be able to hear you throughout the conversation. And I want to say, Never Ending Nina, I am the first person. I will tell you, I will never always get it right when it comes to inclusive language, because every day there's something that I learn that's new. So if you hear me say something that isn't inclusive, just let a sister know gently, and I will store it away for a future day. Okay, but don't get mad. It's not intentional. But
No,
as we progress in this world, we are, every day, like I said, we have different conversations, and different words and phrases are brought up to us as being toxic or problematic, and different ways of saying things are given to us. So please let me know.
most definitely.
So most of us are here in Los Angeles. If you're not in LA and you're watching, it's all good. I'm sure your community got some drama too. But we're going to talk about some LA tea right now. In particular, an incident that happened to Miss Tiana. And I wanted you, Miss Tiana, to go ahead and start that conversation and let everybody know sort of what happened and what brought us all here today.
Excuse me while I had that moment.
Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah, because it has been a mentally strenuous week for me, contrary to what others may believe. Because people see me on social media and I have been going ham in defense of myself and in defense of trans rights and all the other things of that spectrum. But over the last week, unfortunately, I had an online altercation with a really huge pivotal member of our community. He's a party promoter. He's been doing it for a very long time. He has a platform of over 193,000 people, which is pretty big, I would like to believe. And so him and I, we haven't been seeing quite eye to eye for quite some time. We've never actually had any type of verbal exchange leading up to the cyberbullying. And that's exactly what it was. I believe it was the morning of Tuesday. I woke up and my phone was just going off last week, to be exact. And he had posted me on his social media in a very unflattering position. I hated the picture, if I must say so myself. And I actually told my kids not to post it. But when you're doing photo blasts, and it was a production week for us, so we had a lot of new content, and it slipped through the cracks, unfortunately. And I woke up that Tuesday morning and I received a screenshot of that picture with a male identifying emoji plastered over my face. And there was also some verbiage, some not so nice verbiage in regards to my body type that said stuffed. Yeah, it offended me as well as a lot of different people. I tried to give that person a call prior to my response, and when I called, I was unsuccessful in being able to get a hold of him. And so from that, I felt the need to defend myself, and it's been an ongoing situation ever since. There has been other people who have had similar situations with the public bullying, the body shaming, the transphobia, the fat phobia. I mean, there's been countless people who've been coming out, some public, some not so public, and disclosing with me their similar situations. So now I'm just utilizing my platform to bring awareness to this issue, because I personally believe that we cannot continue to enable community bullies. We cannot keep making excuses for this type of behavior. And I want him to be held accountable for the public humiliation and slander that I was presented with.
Okay. And so I just want folks to understand who may be watching this at home, like, well, why? That sounds personal. That sounds like that's just between those two people. No, it's actually not. Particularly when you prop yourself up in the community as some sort of community leader, some sort of representative of our community. Believe me when I tell you, if I did the shit that he did, people would call me out quick, fast, and in a hurry. Believe me when I tell you, if someone white had done what he did, he would get called out quick, fast, and in a hurry. And I think, one of the reasons why it was important for us to all come together and have this conversation is because I keep hearing community accountability. Like, it's kind of like, you know, we have to hold this person accountable. And how do you hold this person accountable if you're still supporting this person, right? Is that sort of the gist of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I have, just so y'all know, like, I don't have a problem mentioning the person's name. They did what the fuck they did, you know. They know they did it. They doubled down on it. So I don't have a problem with it. Go ahead.
If I can interject really quickly, I think the biggest problem, not the biggest problem, but I think what the main issue, at least from my understanding, is that it's a pattern with this person. It's not like a one-off situation. This is something that this person targets, you know what I'm saying, already marginalized individuals, but he targets people, trans women, Black trans women, women who are full figured. He targets them specifically. It's a bully syndrome. And I think that, you know, the patriarchy has set it up to allow space for that, and not for you to do it, and not for, you know, someone white to do it, but because he's Black and queer and in the community, it's allowed, that patriarchy is just like so deep rooted that it's allowed it to continue and to happen over and over and over.
And in order to have any sense of accountability, the community needs to obviously know who it is. So I don't really know him. I know that he said a couple of things to me on social media once, and I just blocked his ass because I don't have time for that shit. But his name is Brandon Anthony. I don't go to his events. He's not my cup of tea, but I understand that a lot of people do go to his events. And maybe Thais, do you want to sort of give the history a little
Well,
bit
yeah,
so
yeah,
folks
you know,
can understand?
I'm with the shit, so I don't really care. Like, I don't really
Bring it.
deal with that. I don't really deal with that circle of people anymore. I really don't. So I don't have anything to lose. Zero to lose. So the deal is that like someone said, it's a pathological thing at this point, because we dealt with this with Chica, we dealt with this with Amaya Scott, and I'm going to be clear. I don't speak for Amaya. I don't speak for Chica. I speak to the system in which they were abused, in which they were, you know, called all of their names. So I'm speaking to that system that allows someone to do that and go unchecked, unscathed. Because the truth of the matter is, it happened Black Pride weekend of 2021. The person went away for about 10 days, and then clubs and, you know, places just started, you know, putting him right back on the docket and putting him right back in the spin of things. So it was like there was no accountability, zero accountability. And I was supposed to at that time speak out about it, but I was in the process of building my platform that I'm on now, and just got caught up with the, you know, the everyday life of things. And so I didn't get a chance to speak to that. I wanted to write a piece about it. I reached out to you, Jasmine, and I told you, I was like, Jasmine, I want to write a piece about this whole thing. And then time got away from me. And then, like, months later, I got the news that Chica was having a mental health emergency where she was suicidal. And I told Jasmine I felt so horrible because I wanted to speak out. And then, God forbid, if that situation would have went the other way, I just don't know. I would have really felt really bad because I was supposed to speak out at that time. But, you know, I'm glad that she got the help that she needed. But the tweets, all of the screenshots are available, and people can look at them. They're still online. I'm talking about some really horrible stuff about Chica, her looks, her weight, you know, and of course the Maya Scott allegations. They're all online still for people to look at as well. So it's just
and let me say this, Thais. Everybody don't know who Chica is. Okay, everybody don't know who Amaya Scott is. So it's always good to explain to people. Chica is a rapper.
Chica is a Grammy-nominated rapper. She is, you know, a really talented artist. Really, she really is. And of course, Amaya Scott, we know her from Star fame, and she's a trans advocate in her own right. So to see these two women go through that at the hands of this person, and then you fast forward, and now we're dealing with Tiana. It's like this is a pattern. This is no longer just an isolated incident one summer. This is a pattern. And there are a lot of things that I can't even talk about that have happened with this person here in LA, but yeah,
Yeah,
if nothing is brought of this, Tiana will not be the last person. She won't, unfortunately.
And that's what we
right.
wanted to stop. And so
Yeah,
for
it needs to
me,
stop.
it's about a community. Once again, it's about community accountability. And for me, it's about the aspect of what systems are in place to counteract these unmentionable experiences. And so for me, I know because I am part of community and I was one that because out of respect, I went to this person during that time because I have love and respect for that person. And it went unnoticed. It went, to on no avail. There was nothing set up after I said, "Hey, we need to have a conversation. We need to. All parties need to come, particularly in LA, because it's a sense of unrest in community because it looks bad, it feels unsafe, and I just don't want to be a part of it when I know all parties involved. So where I need to make sure that these individuals are safe in this community that we help build. And so to that notion and to that contact, it was null and void. And so for me, when we talk about accountability, that's that action. I went to my loved one, I went to my person, I went to community, and it was once again, as a Black trans woman, it's so much that we can do. And that's why I always ask, to me, where are the men? Where are the masculine presenting individuals in this space that can, yes, I can go to that person, or the individuals, because it's also, as we spread out, it's not just that individual that possibly have encounters within that negative space. And so for me, it's just about setting up these spaces to where we can have this actual uncomfortable accountability, to where we can get to a place to where we don't even have to do this, because we know if I done you wrong, I can come to you in a respectful manner and say, yeah, I did slight you, my bad, I am growing. I just want to let you know that I apologize, and my actions are going to show you what I truly mean by that sincerity and that apology. And so that's why I'm really here to say, where is the accountability? Who can check, who can bring this person in, or the persons in who have these issues? Because we can no longer be the ones that to bear the brunt of this negative energy.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
a really
I go ahead, Carlicia.
No, I was going to say that was a really good point, Nina. For me, I'm definitely championing the accountability piece as well as the enabling piece. One thing we've seen, per Thais' statement, is that there's a pattern now. And as I look at this whole situation, I look at it through the lens of, the definition of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting, a different result. So be it that this has already happened 2 times, and whatever approaches were taken, to do that slap on the hand, don't do it again. It's we're at a point where whatever's being said behind closed doors is ineffective. We're at a space where, aside from the Brandon Anthony, it's, those around him and supporting and creating platform and giving resources. While Brandon's a piece of it, what sticks out to me is, the Lance Basses who are offering the space for him to create the platform that's getting him the supporters that has him feeling as though he can move and navigate in such an aggressive, just misogynistic energy. And the other piece is that enabling, right? For me, it's, if it's always, off grid while the attack is public, there's this huge disconnect with community. And one, why are the trans women having to stand up against a masculine energy going against a feminine energy? Why isn't masculine energy then also challenging, this voice and the way they're going about expressing whatever they feel? Whatever you do behind closed doors is your business, but the moment you make it public while being a public figure, now it's open for conversation. And one thing we know with today's climate, a lot of the decisions and choices that are being made, if were done by someone else, you would lose album sales, concert tickets would drop, your Twitter would get taken away from you. So it's just this really interesting piece of those dancing around the topic that are, you know, his peer, as well as his supporters, as well as, you know, the ones funding. So this whole situation, to me, at this point, I'm sitting back going, wow. But I'm also sitting back going, at any point, if any trans person or feminine energy rubs this person wrong, by way of all his support, by way of the people who are funding any of his efforts, it's obvious now that any of us can get it. Any trans person, any feminine energy can get it if he feels fit to, you know, launch an attack and create a smear campaign. And then all you have to do is circle back and do a customer appreciation, because by way of the behavior, the whole situation just screams. And he's not wrong that his thought process and actions are okay because community has supported it.
Right. It's sort of, it's I hate to use this comparison, but you know, if we think about our former president, some of the things that he did and some of the things he said, and I remember him talking about how he could kill somebody and he would still have the same support that he had before he did it. And it's sort of the same thing. And that's where the accountability comes in. If people still continue to show up to this person's events and stuff and no one holds him accountable and it doesn't affect his bottom line and people still continue to provide the platforms for him to do his things, what incentive is there to change? What incentive is there to apologize? There really isn't any. And I think that's where the onus comes back on the community. I mean, you can't want to shake your ass that much. You can't want to go out somewhere that much that you would support someone like this, knowing that, right? And that's a problem.
They want
that's
to.
The problem.
They want to be in the hottest whatever, and it's like, you know. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jasmine.
No, go ahead.
I think what it is that it's much bigger than just Brandon. Like, it's the culture. It's like, I would just guesstimate 50% of Butch Queens have the same kinds of thoughts and thought patterns and process that he does. It's like a shared, it's sort of like Donald Trump didn't become Donald Trump by just Donald Trump. There were like-minded individuals who felt and who agreed with everything that he said and who pacified, and then those kinds of, that kind of rhetoric. And that's the same thing that's going on with him. I see it, whether it's in the club scene, whether it's in the ball scene, whether it's in, and patriarchy runs deep in the queer community as well. So it's like, if we're talking about stopping his bag, we would then have to go to the white sponsors who are sponsoring or who he's partnering with, you know what I'm saying, and letting them know, but do they really care about Black trans women? We're still trying to fight that battle as well. So it's like, I just think that we have to shift the culture altogether, like shift the mentality of the culture, because it's not just him. It's him and his advocates and allies. Who don't see us in our wholeness, in our entirety, as the women we are. It's, it's several different things. Either whether it be jealousy, whether it be, them being afraid to walk in their truth, but for whatever reason, they have their gripes with trans women and it just seeps through.
Okay, so the thing that blares out to me, Jasmine, is the fact that some of these organizations may not know what's going on because they're just not in tune with Blackness, especially Black queerness like that. They're not. But there are a lot of organizations that are very familiar with what's going on. Like, for instance, in the meantime, Jeffrey King, that have honored Brandon since then. And there was a meeting, I believe, with Netflix and their inclusive director and all of that. So there are organizations that do not know, and it's our job now to let them know and to bring them into the know what's going on. But you have organizations that deal with Brandon, like AHF and the Gay and Lesbian Center, and you're sitting on the board and you're sitting on these panels, and you're supposed to be a director for trans, gay, bi, whatever, and you have a whole history of record that is somewhat hidden from the people that you are doing business with. I know Lance Bass don't really know about this. He can, because I believe that he would do something about it. I really do believe that. So it is our job to let people know that may not know. We can't do anything about the Jeffrey Kings, because that's a whole nother show. We can't do anything about the In the Meantimes and the AHFs, because they're all kind of like in bed together. It's a big sleepover. But we can email and write and let the Globe and the Chapel and Heart and everybody know this is what's going on with these black women, black trans women, because I know for a fact if these were white women, this story would have been in WeHoville, it would have legs, and everybody would have been already have talked about it. It would already be squashed by now. It's only because these are black trans women and black women that we have to do this uphill battle for justice. And historically, if I may say, y'all know historically, black men have benefited from trans resistance, y'all. They have. And they stand in the background. And black trans women, whether it be the Compton cafeteria riot, whether it be Stonewall, wherever, they always stand in the background and they benefit from trans women. And then when it's time to be an ally or speak up for trans women, they're nowhere to be found. Because I was on Brandon Anthony's page and I was looking in the thread and I saw people that I know like, yeah, bro, you're okay, you good with me, you're all right. And you have to ask the question, why would you see Tiana's story and then high five because you go to his parties? His parties is enough for you to just ignore the plight of this trans woman? Is it that serious? Or the parties that lit? You know? So we have a lot of work to do, but like I said, Jasper, I don't think a lot of these people know. They can't know.
Can I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, everybody know I was on like a media frenzy last week, trying to bring as much attention and awareness to this problem as possible, and I did receive contact from the manager of Heart. I believe his name was Adolfo. He called me last week, and we had a really in-depth conversation about the whole situation in its entirety. Not trying to throw him out there, but he also did tell me that it did catch the attention of Lance Bass as well. And from what I've gathered, he wasn't really too happy about it. And so he did tell me that he was supposed to have a conversation with Brandon yesterday. I haven't received any updates from anybody from Heart. But from what I've gathered is that yesterday they actually had like half off of drinks and customer appreciation day and so forth, as Carlisha mentioned earlier. But yet here we are Monday, and clearly, this is obviously a really big deal. And for them not to circle back around, it just kind of lets me know like their stance on things. Right now, I get it. Let me give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they are busy, trying to recuperate from a busy weekend. But I just feel like, so by now, I would have liked for somebody to have said something to at least follow back up, and let me know what the end result of the conversation it was, what their plan of action is, how they plan on dealing with situations like this moving forward. Because he did tell me that this was not the second or third time that something like this has happened. Like he told me out of his mouth that this is not the second or third time that something like this has happened. And he told me personally to take it as far as I want to go. That's what the owner told me. I don't know. Co-owner, manager, somewhere in that realm. That's what he told me.
Yeah. So I just want to point out a couple of things right quick. Thais, remember we are talking about we all Black. So remember we are also talking about people who stood by R. Kelly until they. Some people still standing by R. Kelly, to be honest with you, until they couldn't anymore. So when you talk about, is the party that good? Can we? Yes, we know from our own people's previous behavior that we are almost willing to overlook anything, right? And I will say that I do slightly disagree with you on something. I love Jeffrey dearly, but I do believe in holding everybody accountable. You can hold Jeffrey can be held accountable too. I mean, we are sitting here literally talking about Black gay men, right? And we know that In the Meantime is one of the largest groups for Black gay men in Los Angeles. And, so if there's an issue there and they're not acknowledging what Brandon Anthony did, then there needs to be a conversation had. Because again, if as we have discussed, if it was a white person, if it was anybody else, the response would be completely different. And I think, again, when you talk about community accountability, it's not just Hart, it's not just Lance Bass, it's also our community leaders as well who continue to prop him up in the community.
And the reason I said what I said, Jasmine,
the community. It goes to the actual intent. It goes to the actual intent, and it's not serious to them because they don't view us as important or those individuals as important. But I bet you indeed, if it was their sister, if it was their little niece, if it was their mother, if it was their good cousin on their daddy's side, if it was their good Judy from high school that they know that they used to protect, it's a different thing. And so that's the thing that I'm basing it around is the actual intent. Do you see me like I have seen you for countless of years? I am a community cultivator. I create community wherever I go. I don't just think about Black trans women. I think about the majority of the Black LGBTQIA plus community. That's what's been at the forefront of my existence because I know that if I make it, I have to include everybody in there. Now, there's special interest in making sure those marginalized communities get access to where we know that other people have more access than us. And so, of course, I'm not just going to shun one community, but I want to make sure that on their side, on my brother's side, on my masculine presenting uncle side, in community, that they have it in the front of their mind, in their heart, in their eyes to seek, and on the tongues and the lips of their voices to say, hey, I'm standing in the gap. I'm standing on the left, on the right, in the front, in the back, up, down, around for my Black trans women, because we know without them, none of this is possible. And so I bring it back to accountability of like, yes, privately, yes, we might have these conversations, but when are those individuals going to say it publicly? The girls are always going to have our back. We're going to have community. We got that. We know because we have to be, it's dealt with us to say, I got to have your back because we don't have nothing else. And so I just want in community, those men to start having these action steps to say, hey, I can easily call you and say, bro, take that down. That don't look good. Let's have a conversation. Yeah, they might have did this to you, but let's think of another way so we can get this communication together because that's not right and that's very dangerous.
I want to.
Okay, so I just want to say this really, really quickly. The reason I say what I say, and accountability does go both ways. It does. We need to be held accountable in our community because when this happened last summer, and I was making waves and trying to let everybody know about it. And I received radio silence from a lot of people, some of my own friends that are in the community, icons, legends. I don't know whether they were scared they were not going to get a VIP pass or their wristband or whatever, but it was radio silence. And then when Black Pride came out and released a statement several days after, and then that's when he then apologized. So it was like 10 days before there was any action during this last incident. So when I say things, I'm saying it because I have grown really tired and jaded with the response to the plight of our people, especially our trans people. And a lot of times it is at the hands of our own people because they are in rooms and they don't want to make any waves because they are in those rooms. And it's all about really, at the end of the day, it's really about money. and people don't want to mess up their bag. I don't want to talk about him because, I don't want to mess up his bag and he don't want to mess up my bag. So it all comes down to finances, but we're not going to get anywhere with the delusion of inclusion. We're not.
What really sticks out to me, that was a great points as well, Thais. What sticks out to me is integrity. What keeps coming up for me surrounding integrity is one, for example, Thais was saying, you're looking at comments and you're seeing people who high-fiving this person. It's interesting how we're able to pick and choose where our moral compass directs us. And again, with the integrity piece, I found it wowing. And I want to say just very honest that even in us trying to create this panel discussion, bringing in a masculine energy to, that could either be a peer or a superior to the likes of Brandon, no one wanted to touch it, which again, it's very telling. It shows to me this integrity piece of, I don't want no parts of it, but yet, back to, I think Nina was saying, if it's their niece, if it's their nephew, so then if the shoe's on the other foot, then you flex your integrity. And I'm noticing as we progress, in this era of narcissism, that people are picking and choosing what's right by way of benefit versus what's right and wrong until it's on, that shoe shifts to your foot. And then all of a sudden you're saying, people stand with me, people rally with me. But again, it's that integrity and that community piece of accountability. No one even knows who to lean on anymore, especially amongst the trans community. And again, to Nina's point, one thing we know within our community, within the trans Black community, is we got each other. That's never in question. And what we also know is in spaces where, queer space is being challenged, we got y'all as well. This call to action is accountability, but also, can you help a sister out? We shouldn't have to constantly have these conversations and dictate, by way of this person's opinion, this feeling, and so on and so forth. This is wrong. Let's correct it. Find a solution. Now let's move forward. There's a lot of opinions and ideas being thrown around, but where's the solution piece of this? How are we buttoning up and moving it forward? Until that happens, we're going to constantly be in this space of saying that's not nice, and there's going to be backroom conversations, and then we're going to move forward with the statement and back to kumbaya.
See, I'm ready to.
Well, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Honestly, I'm down for when is this next event? Let's boycott. I don't have a problem with being there. I don't have a problem with being there telling people at the door, like, oh, no, you can't go up in here. Don't you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that just goes back to who is going to show up with us.
Yeah.
Can I interject? I'm sorry, y'all. The bulk of my hurt, honestly, it did not come from Brandon. To be honest, like, for the first time ever in my life, while being a member of this community, that was the most alone I've ever fucking felt, ever. And excuse my language, but I just have to be honest. Like, when it came to men specifically, let me be more specific. When it came to the men, a lot of people who I would have expected to pull up was a no call, no show. Like, I was really gagging, to be honest. I was gagging, and you don't really realize how many people are enablers around you, right? A lot of people are opportunistic. That's another part of the issue. He gives the red carpet rollout to these people. You might get in for free. You might get a cocktail this night. You can go up into the sections. People are afraid of losing the nightlife experience, which prevents them from wanting to be an ally, which prevents them from wanting to speak up and be vocal about what they know ain't right. And so that's why I said on my story, on my page, on my Instagram last week, I'm like, dude, like, it's just the club. There's about 30 of them on that strip. Why do we continue to empower people who don't deserve our support? right? Why do we pour so much of our love and our community resources and finance into a space that's not inclusionary to everyone of the spectrum? You see, he's supposed to be creating the environment for Black queer culture, but it seems like it's only geared towards one specific demographic of people. And that particular demographic of people is the same demographic of people that left me high and dry on the front lines by myself. And so, yes, I started to realize, damn, I thought you was my dad. I thought you was my uncle. I thought you was my brother. I thought you was my nephew. I thought you was my son. I thought you was so many other male presenting things in my life. But when I'm out here getting publicly humiliated by a Black cis gay man,
Crickets.
baby, where are the people? Once again, it's me out here with my trans sisters on the front lines fighting for us. And so I do want to commend the people who did take the time out to share, to bring more awareness to this. Because, like, no shade, we're at like 6,400 and 75 signees on that petition. That to clarify, Chica started that petition a year ago. Okay, a year ago. I just brought more awareness to the petition. But it's telling to me that there's 6,475 people who have signed a petition, and people still are willing to support this person, to uplift this person, to enable this person, to provide this person with so much community access and resource. I don't know what it is about this person that y'all just can't get up off of, but I'm telling you from my mouth, we're tired of this sort of treatment from him. I've gave him 10 years of support. 10 plus years of support. And in my lived experience, I've never seen him pour any love back into the community, and especially geared towards us trans women. You can
Well,
throw us $200.
there's a power structure, Tiana, there, and it's really a stronghold in the community, because with that type of power, people do become emboldened when they see the apathy of the people that are supposed to be helping and coming to your defense. When they see that type of apathy, they know they can be emboldened. Because at one point I was thinking, is this guy on something to do this over and over again? I'm like, something has to be wrong with him. When you have access to those type of spaces and you do this to people over and over again, that's a risk and a gamble that's like most people would just hope to be in those kind of spaces with the Gay and Lesbian Center and with these nightclubs and stuff. So it's a stronghold. But I think we have to move beyond the physical boycott. And I think we're in the digital age. We're in the age. So I think we need to do grassroots, let people know via email, via messenger, via flyer, and with a hashtag, do you know? Do you know? And show the screenshots of what's happening. Because one thing about people, once they see something, they cannot unsee it, and they can't say they don't know about it. So I think it needs to be an all hands on deck process and getting the word out and letting people know, people that he does business with, nightclubs, social justice organizations, and let them know, do you know about Tiana Ali? Do you know about Chica? Do you know about Amaya Scott? And once they see it, they can't unsee it, and they can no longer say they don't know about it. Then those who are like-minded with people like Tiana can then judge and say, well, I don't want to participate with this club. I don't want to go here. I don't want to support this person. But it is a stronghold, and it is an uphill battle. What we're dealing with right here, it is really a stronghold.
And I also think that we have not yet moved past the boycott. I can rest on my laurels and say I can sit out and do it digitally. But we know now and have known before that we need the image of those masculine men or those masculine energies challenge those said, because I could sit up here in all my femininity and all my intelligence, it still would not be effective. Like if another person that might look like that person challenges that person, not saying just going tit for tat, but just saying, bro, let's have some action stuff to say. You can't talk to women like that in public or private. Is there something else challenging you in the way that you communicate with community? If so, we need to set these things up. A lot of people do not have the testicular fortitude to actually challenge their community in a way that can actually embody them and uplift them without tearing them down. I am that person. I'm not going to beat around the bush when it comes to accountability. What I can do is hold you accountable in a way that's going to uplift you, but also I'm going to still be right in that ear to say, hey, friend, hey, community, that's not nice. That's not cute. Watch that language. Make sure that when you're doing this, it's open and equal to all. This is the space that we need, yes, on all fronts. But for so long, femme queen energy, Black trans women, non-binary individuals, we have always been doing that. And it's time out that, yes, I need to see men on the front line. I need to see men challenging their brothers in that. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's always uncomfortable for us. But we got to do it every day just to survive. And so that's the place of privilege that I need to make sure that those individuals see, to say, hey, yeah, that's on the line when you challenge your friend like that. I know that because I do it all the time. But I want to make sure that the person coming behind me has the very space to grow and cultivate their said community as well, and not live in fear that the same people that they fight for could automatically spew hatred and allow violence against them just because y'all have a disagreement. Now, personal stuff, I don't know. My thing is here for accountability across the board, and let's building in within that. That's what I want. Our community, that's what I want. These men that represent bisexuality, pansexuality, same gender loving. I need y'all to come to, particularly Black, because I'm speaking from the Black lens. If we come together more and have communication, nothing could deter us from building equity and empowerment within our group, because we know we move and shape everything. So this is a community talk to say, hey, it's time out for the bullshit. Let's get to the work. If that's internalized as well as external, let's get to it, because I'm tired.
Yeah. I'm hearing a lot. I think what I'm really clear about is there needs to be some type of action, right? It cannot be, we just had this discussion and nothing happens, right? And so we know in 2022, to Thais's point, yes, you can do a lot of damage online to folks just in terms of calling attention to issues. Yeah, I do believe that the club part needs to disassociate themselves from this person. And I think the only way that they're going to probably do that is if they're called out on it. And so what that looks like, I don't know. Is that online? Is that in person? Is it both? But again, there was something you had said earlier, Thais, and it made me think of Russian President Putin, and how I think it was that you said, well, hey, if this person sees that they can do this and that and nobody's going to do anything about it, yeah, they're going to continue to do it. And that's sort of what we saw with Russian President Putin. He realized that as much shit as other countries talk, nobody was really going to stand up and stop them from taking Ukraine, right? And that's sort of what I see here. I think until there's some real pushback, until there's some real accountability, what incentive is there for this so-called community leader to correct himself? And just to be clear, because I also want to say that I was offended on so many different levels with what he said to you, Tiana, but especially the whole double downing of it. I think he since deleted that post, but that was really horrible too. And it just said to me that he still doesn't get it and he really doesn't care. That's what that said to me. Because he doubled and tripled down, he even added more horrible comments on top of that. And I will say, I talked to someone who I think is one of his main enablers, Ivan Daniel. I talked to Ivan about it because I always look, because I know he knows him. And I don't know if Ivan has had a conversation with him or not, but I told him, I asked if he was on drugs, because when he did that doubling down, that last one that you had sent me, Thais, I was just like, this is crazy. Like, why is this person still saying all of these things?
What was the answer, Jasmine? Inquiring minds want to know.
Right. The answer was something about, I don't know, this person's always had a sharp tongue. Yeah, that was the answer. But yeah, and you know, again, I spoke to some folks on the West Hollywood City Council. I talked to some other people in the political world, because I'm like, you ain't gonna be trying to stand next to these folks and get in with these folks, and you out here, you know, fat shaming and being anti-trans and stuff. We can't have that. You know, you might be able to keep your little club thing, but you cannot be operating in other circles, because again, accountability all the way around. If a city council, if the Gay and Lesbian Center, all these organizations have said that these are their values, this is what they support, you cannot support a Brandon Anthony. Like, you cannot give him a platform if you say that this is what you're against, and he's literally doing the very thing that you're against. So that's sort of how I was trying to deal with things in the background. But I will support you ladies in whatever you wanna do, because I do think that if nothing is done, it will happen again.
It will.
I do want to just take a brief moment just to touch bases on some of the young Black entrepreneurs in the nightlife who try to branch off and do their own things, who he unfortunately, allegedly, used through his resources to sabotage their events. I know one of my closest friends in particular was running a really successful after hours nightlife event here in LA. And like, I want to say like a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, I know that, you know, he was allegedly, what was been told to us is that he was using his platform at the club on the mic to send people to, you know, the white man's after hours. He would also do things allegedly as far as giving people the wrong addresses, and people were calling me from like dead ends in the middle of nowhere, like, hey, this is not the afties, I don't know where I'm at, and just stuff like that. And you know, people have told me, you know, things that I cannot repeat, unfortunately, but this is not just one person. This is tons of young Black entrepreneurs who are interested in, you know, doing the nightlife as well. And unfortunately, he has this immense amount of resource available to him that apparently he uses to sabotage other entrepreneurs. And so I didn't want to not bring attention to that, because it's something that is dear to my heart, because I, you know, I held my brother as he cried about, you know, why I look up to him. All I want is support. All I want is guidance. All I want is pointers. You get what I'm saying? And all he's gotten in return was sabotaged,
It's true.
unfortunately.
It's true, Tiana, what you're saying. He's done quite a bit, and I'm not saying a third of what I know, because this is my sister's platform. I don't want to bring no smoke to her platform. If this was the official Thais report, I would lay everybody out tonight. But that's not why we're here. We're here getting justice for Tiana, Chica, and Amaya. But it is very true. I mean, he sabotaged and stabbed his own mentors in the back. So it's not unheard of that that's happened. And like I said, there is a litany of things that has happened and transpired since he has flown in from New Orleans on his broom. Yeah, it's true.
You know what's funny, Jasmine? You said two things that got my wheels turning. One, you brought up R. Kelly, and two, you brought up Trump. And it's so interesting, for example, with the Trump statement, it's like this butch queen energy. And for those that are unfamiliar with butch queen, that's the masculine energy in the ballroom space, right? So this like new Butch. It's like make Butch Queens great again, right? His whole thing is like exclude all the feminine energy. Let's be mass for mass. Let's just get rid of anything girly. They don't need to be here anyways, unless we need bells and whistles. Then girl, come out of the roof. Thank you so much, girl, go. And it's like very obvious that that's what's going on to me. And then with the R. Kelly piece, what popped up was the surviving Brandon Anthony. Because what I don't know if anyone's catching, but what I keep hearing is there's so many people who came and spoke about it, but I don't want to touch it. I don't want to, because like everyone's saying, there's weight here, there's a history here, there's a pattern here. But as you know, we go towards this, surviving Brandon Anthony initiative. I do believe if we double down, if we bring people into the fold, and if we stay honest and we're very consistent with messaging, that those people eventually will want to talk about it. But if something's got to give, we're going to need that extra support.
I agree.
Yeah.
Chica did reach out to me. She has been very vocal. She has been one of the supporters in my corner with this whole initiative and, this stance on accountability and stuff like that. And obviously from her support in itself, this is still a traumatizing experience for her. So I do want to take the time out to say thank you, Chica, for your support. It may not be public, you know what I mean? But what she's doing and taking the time out of her day behind the scenes, because she's a Grammy nominated, busy girl, but for her to reach out to me, for her to share some insight and some love and show that support to me, it does mean a great deal to me. It really does.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, for me, my takeaway is that we have to have actions and accountability. And so if that person, because this is not even to center me, but what I want to say is that if you're gonna be about it, then be about it. If that's something that you want to change, and if you can sit and say, yes, I was wrong, I'm all for creating change, but you have to still own up to the things that you want to change. It's not just scapegoating and saying, I apologize. No, sit in it to say, yes, I did send that. Yes, I did type that. Yes, I did do all those things, and I'm here to change. And that community can actually understand and feel if the intention is true. And for the most part, and I speak to that because I'm pretty sure they're going to see it, I've done my diligence because I love the person and I respect the person. And we had a communication and a respect with each other, because that's how I always am with people in community. But I have to know that for the betterment of community, I still have to hold you accountable. And yet I love you. And that's okay. Because I know my intention is say, I want everybody to be included. I want everybody safe. I want everybody loved. I want everybody with access to everything that can expand their happiness. And if you are in the way of that, then I have to challenge you in a way to say, hey, I need you to see this in a different light, or you need to move out the way and let somebody else show up in a space that can actually encompass everybody in inclusivity.
Yeah. I love
And to
this for when people
my trans
accountable.
sisters, don't be deceived, because I've seen this movie before. Statements will come, public apologies have happened, sit downs at Carl Bean House have happened, round tables have happened, and then the behavior continues. So
That's the definition of insanity.
unless there's something really substantive, really, some real accountability, don't be fooled, y'all, because it has happened again. And I also want to say one more thing to the LA constituency, all the legends and icons and in between. If you were not here tonight, if you were not on this thread, Facebook or YouTube, please don't hit me up asking or talking to me about anything. Okay? You should have been here, because that's what they do. That's what people are doing right now. Oh, I heard you were on, Jasmine. Y'all were on tonight talking about it. Girl, why weren't you here? Brother, why weren't you here? Don't hit me up talking about it. You should have been here. If you're not at work or you're not at school, you should have been here. Period.
Go ahead.
Because my
This
daddy
is
would have
for,
been here. Huh.
but this is
That
the
part.
space for, once again, this is a space for, like, for me, I don't have an issue going through my DMs or going through my followers and say, hey, you saw what happened to me. Why haven't you respond? That's the challenge that everybody who's reaching out to everybody, baby, call them on that. If you love me and you see me, then why haven't you reposted this? Why haven't you made a statement? Why haven't you just challenged? Why haven't you called this person? Why haven't That's about the digital space that we can do right now in the comforts of your home. But it's also based in the middle and the bottom line of intent. Do I see you as I see somebody who I love? And quite frankly, the answer is no. Majority of the time, it's no.
And
So, I just want to say, I think Never Ending Nina said something about love and accountability. And I just wanted to say, holding someone accountable is love. That is definitely love, right? Because we wouldn't take our time. We wouldn't, that's either love for them or love for the issue that you're holding them accountable for. I think that I want to say, whatever the decision that's made, in terms of how to move forward, to definitely let me know. I'm happy to be outside of heart with y'all. If I'm here, I'm happy to do whatever, because like Thais said, we have seen this movie before, and I just hope that this time, there can be some repercussions that actually bring about some real change, because I see Brandon Anthony as being anti-woman. Everything I've ever seen, even the way he came at me online, I don't even know him. Like, I don't, we're not even in the same league, and he don't know me. And the way he came at me online, I was just like, block, 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 block. Like, I don't have time for you, dude. But given the fact that he commands so much energy and space in our community, just in terms of the scene or whatever, he has to be dealt with. He just has to. And so, Tiana and Jayla and Carlisha and Never Ending Nina, y'all need to let us know what we need to do to support you, because we'll do it and make sure other folks know as well. I'm going to be sending an email myself over to Heart, because I don't think that it's appropriate to have someone like that at your venue. Not in 2022 in West Hollywood. And like I said, already spoken to folks on the council there about this issue as well, because I'm like, we can't be giving a space to this, because we wouldn't give a space to someone else. Just because you're Black, I have to keep reminding people, just because folks are Black does not mean they cannot be called out on their bullshit, even in a city like West Hollywood. And so I'm, like I said, trying to work behind the scenes on that issue, because I don't think that that's appropriate.
It's so nuanced, Jasmine, that we, once again, that's really the only quote unquote Black space in West Hollywood that people would frequent on Sundays. So on one hand, it's like, oh, you don't want
It's not a traditional Black space. It's a Black night.
that part, but for the community that don't know, that's everybody knows to go, and which I help cultivate. And so, but when I was there, it was a space of inclusivity for everybody. And so once again, when I saw certain things, I was like, I gotta, if we cannot have this conversation and communication, and I'm giving it to you in love, then I gotta raise my hand and say, I gotta step back, because I can see what's coming down, and I don't want to be a part of it, because I love you, but I still can challenge you in this space and say, hey, bro, we got to do better. And so I think that's the nuances of, like, I understand that that's going to take away possibly a lot of people's safe space, but is it actually a safe space that you would want everybody to come to if, in fact, certain people get inflicted with trauma? Make it make sense. So I challenge that.
And everybody that sees this, it only takes a millisecond, y'all, to email Heart, to email the chapel. It only takes a millisecond to contact these people via messenger Instagram and say, this is what I'm feeling about what I heard about Tiana. This is what I feel, and this is what I think you should do to rectify this. It takes a second. If we can sit on Instagram and Facebook all day liking other people's pictures, we can get active and let people know what's going on with our trans family. And in closing, let me just say one last thing. The delusion of inclusion oftentimes fools people. Just because you see a lesbian couple on the flyer for Pride, or just because there's a trans performer on the lineup at the event, that does not mean the promoter advocates or is an ally or believes in those people's rights. It does not mean that. That's a money situation. That's a name to bring people in. It's about money. So if you see, say, for instance, Niecy Nash and her partner on the flyer, oh, people say, oh my God, this is a great place. It's, oh my God. You may see a trans performer. Sasha Sanchez may be flown in. That does not mean that that person respects trans women, lesbian women. It does not mean that. Cishet women. It does not mean that. It means I'm bringing in people that I know is going to bring money to this establishment.
Thank you. Carlisha, Jayla, any last words before we close out with Tiana?
Yes, please see my sisters Nina and Tiana. They're going to communicate with you with words and pull you in. I'm going to give you these hands if you disrespect me and my sisters. That's just no, and I don't mean that. Like I do. I'm open to having conversations, but I want people to understand that no one is owed a conversation. So sometimes in the real world, which we live in, if someone is disrespected, they may not respond out of love. Whether your community or not. You may catch a girl on a bad day where she's already had to deal with X, Y, and Z from this person, that person, this person, then to come to community and have to deal with your bullshit. You may catch those hands on that day. I am that girl. So I want people to understand that, you know what I'm saying? All these things, all of them have consequences. Your actions have consequences. So for instance, and I'm not advocating for any kind of violence in any way, but I'm saying like, you just have to be aware that things are not said in a vacuum. They're not done in a vacuum. And that people sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Like I've seen situations where it takes years for things to get to a certain place where somebody had been wrong 5 years ago and come and get you now. So just understand that, you know, I just be aware that no one owes you that space and that love. And that if it's offered to you to make correction or to make change, then to take it, you know? Sorry.
Carlisha?
Speak your truth, sis. I'll just close with, I think it's important that we champion accountability and integrity in this time. I want to thank Jasmine and Thais for creating space for us and allowing us to use this platform to get this message out there. And, you know, I just think it's just one of those things that we're at a very pivotal point with everything that's going on with this being, you know, a situation we're seeing time and time again. And like to Thais's point, I can understand why Brandon thinks that this is okay because there's so many enablers around them. So, you know, while we find solution in this, it's also time to hold everyone accountable in this and the enabling of these type of situations in community. And I look forward to seeing the evolution of community where that masculine energy feels confident enough in their masculinity to challenge, you know, their own brothers and that's right, that's wrong, or, you know, whatever said scenario is. And I do believe we can get there, but, you know, it's going to get ugly before it gets better. But it's uncomfortable situations like this that have to take place. And again, Jasmine, for all the work that you're doing behind the scenes, mamas, I know how you move. No funny.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes you gotta be behind the scenes. Sometimes you gotta make moves and don't nobody need to know about them till they done. Right?
Yes, ma'am. And she disappeared.
Okay.
Boom.
So Jasmine, she'll be right back. Give her a second. That happens. Sometimes you may hit the wrong button and you go out, but she'll come right back in. In the meantime, though, you guys, I canceled my show tonight, and I want to let everybody know, the Thai Squad that's watching, we're going to continue this conversation on my platform right now after this show is over. So head over to the official Thais Report YouTube channel, and I'm going to continue this conversation on my platform. So it's the conversation doesn't stop here. And it's a really great start, Jasmine, this conversation. And I think it has legs, and I think there needs to be multiple parts and multiple situations where we have this conversation. Again, this shouldn't be the end of it.
I agree.
And these shouldn't be the only voices.
Right. Absolutely. And before we close out with Tiana, I want to say this. Girl, I listened to your song. I really liked it. I could not figure out how to play it. Oh, wait, hold on. Can you hear me?
That's better, yeah.
Okay. I was just saying that I listened to your song. I really liked it, but I couldn't figure out how to play it on here. So if you have a link you want to drop in the chat or something for folks to hear it, or just send them.
So, I turned my pain into passion, and I wrote a baby in regards to the situation that happened, but more so just for more girls not to be afraid to speak up for what's right. You know what I mean? And oftentimes we get silenced by people around us who love us, who are unfortunate enablers. And they tug on our heartstrings, and they make us feel like, either we're crazy, or we're crazy and carrying, or just let it go, And so that's pretty much what the song was about. And it's called it's called Cancel Culture. And it's about not being afraid to hold people accountable. And it will be out this week.
Yay. Well, I definitely enjoyed listening to it. So thank you for sharing it. I did like it. I did. I was hoping I could play it, but I couldn't figure it out. And I'm not even technically challenged. I'm not. But I just couldn't figure it out in this. So, sorry.
To be fair, I'm actually quite gagged that we're on a panel on my browser, on my iPhone. I'm being on like an actual app where there's like buttons and features and like you can do this and do that. So I don't hold it against you, Fran.
Yeah, well, thank Thais for that, because I was going to just do it on Zoom, and Thais was like, "No, girl, do it on StreamYard."
I think StreamYard is more people friendly to me. Like, Zoom is great for the corporate world, business meetings and stuff like that. But I think StreamYard is just really good for just the everyday conversations and stuff like this. To me.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Make sure that you definitely share this discussion. If any of y'all want to talk to me about it, feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'm going to be here. I am down for whatever. So just let me know where I need to be and what I need to do. And I always have y'all back, so just know that. And thank you everybody for having this conversation this evening. Thank you so very much. I love you all. Thank you. Bye.
Love y'all. I'm heading over right now to the studio.
Okay. All right. Bye. Bye, Carlisha.
Bye.
Bye, Carlisha.
Bye.
Bye.